So let's say that you have to evict a tenant. How does that process work? And there's probably a million different ways, and states probably do it differently and everything, but this is how it roughly works here in Michigan. If the property is owned in your own name, you can file by yourself. If it's owned by an LLC, I think you need a lawyer to do it. That might have changed. I don't remember. We always just have a lawyer do it just because it's easier. But anyway, so let's say that you have a tenant that you have to evict, right? For whatever reason is, you probably have a good reason, not paying rent or they're breaking the lease, right? Not from you being a slumlord and your house is in disrepair and they're not paying rent because you're not keeping up on the place, right? That's a whole different story. So what you do, first step, you decide you want to evict them for XYZ reason that is valid. So the first thing you do, you send out a 30-day notice, right? 30-day notice has to be sent through the mail, and you don't post it on the door, you don't hand it to them, you throw it, you don't throw it, you send it through the mail to them, right? On the 31st day, you can file at the court for an eviction, right? If they don't move out. Some people move out, some people don't. Some people are hard-headed, right? So maybe they won't move out. Next, well, the other thing, it's very important during those 30 days, you can't receive rent or anything like that, right? Maybe they're back on rent. If they do pay rent, then that 30 days starts over again and you have to start the whole process over again, right? Don't collect rent, right? You're evicting them for a reason. So then you evict, or you get your court date. The court date can be, right now it sucks because it takes like forever to get a court date, but usually I think it's pretty quick. So you get a court date and then they give you a judgment for you or against you, right? Like I said, if you're a slumlord and your house is in disrepair, not up to what it should be, what you agreed on the lease, right? Then you can get a judgment against you. But if you're a good landlord, keep the place up, and they're a bad tenant, then you get a judgment saying that you pretty much won the case, right? And they have to move, right? So then after that whole thing happens, you get to the next step. And the next step is they get 10 days to actually move out, right? So 10 days after the court date, I think it might be the 11th date or whatever. Well, usually 2 days before that 10 days is up. So 8 days later, we post a letter on the door saying that we will be entering in 48 hours to figure out if they moved or not, right? If they haven't moved after the 10 days is up, then the next step is you can file with the court again, and then a bailiff will physically have to come and remove the person and their items from the unit, right? So that's basically, in a very condensed process, how evictions, the process kind of works. If you have any questions, let me know. There's ways of trying to get around having to evict someone by, you can do like cash for keys, or having them, convincing them to move out without doing it. But a lot of times, obviously you shouldn't even get to the point to have to evict people, right? Having to evict people means that you sucked at getting the tenants in. In our case, it's inherited tenants, right? And right, it's part of the business. It's something you got to do. But obviously, if you screen your tenants and pick your tenants very carefully, and you just stick to your guidelines, you should never have to evict someone, but it should never get to the point where you do have to evict people, right? So, because it does suck. So, anyway, let me know if you have any questions. If you do, I don't know if I'll be able to answer them, but I can point you to the fine gentleman that we use for our lawyer that does our evictions, and he's absolutely great. So, have a great night, and let me know if you have any questions.